And welcome everyone to a Big Ten Network chat. I'm Andy Katz, pleased to be joined by Illinois' Brad Underwood. Brad, a lot to unpack with you. Let's first deal with, in the news, the University of Illinois seems to be ahead of every institution in the country in terms of its plan, saliva testing. Why don't you walk me through what's happening on campus amid some other chaos and a few other institutions that really is working well and should put a lot of people at ease at Illinois?
Yeah, Andy, we've had a great last month, and to say that we've had things go perfect, and we haven't. But we've been testing twice a week through the arrival of our students in June. We brought them back in small groups. Our last month has been spotless, and instead of shutting our program down, we've dealt with quarantines and we've dealt with contact tracing. We wanted to educate, and we talked a lot about that with our players, and they understand that quarantine wasn't easy, but we kept right on going with the program through the course of the summer. Our last month has been tremendous, and no cases, guys understanding the mask, guys understanding the protocols. Now we've just instituted, as you mentioned, the saliva test has been approved. All students on our campus will test twice a week. Our athletes will test twice a week. Once we get into practice and the season, our students will test every single day. Our football team, as practice started, was testing every day. Those results come back in less than half a day. For athletes, they'll potentially come back much quicker. Some genius on our campus invented an app that all students and all faculty and staff have. It shows when my positive or negative test comes back. It shows me if I'm in contact with someone who has had a positive test. You have to show that app to get into places. You could be denied. I could be denied getting into our practice facility, and because that app says I've had a positive test. So it's somebody that's very, very smart. And I think that the University of Illinois could not be in a better place for testing availability. We have 19 centers on our campus. I think that's the number where you can get tested. And you got to do that twice a week. And if you don't, that app's going to allow you to be called out on that.
And you also told me off air that another amazing part of this is if someone is positive near you, it will let you know.
Yeah, I get constant notifications, and you could be getting close to someone who's tested positive, and you get this flash across your phone, and so you could walk in as a student could walk into a class and know that someone's in there that's positive and need not go, and a faculty member could know that, and so there's so many really cool features of this. We've had it very little time. We're still learning it, but somebody that's very, very smart, I hope to meet and thank him, because I think it's put us in a great situation to be ahead of the game.
Well, hopefully that'll obviously go across the country. So let's deal with your team right now. I'm incredibly high on them. I'm not alone. I picked you guys at this juncture to be the favorites in the Big Ten in a loaded field with everyone coming back, it feels like, at Iowa, at Wisconsin. I wouldn't dismiss Rutgers and, Michigan State and Michigan and Indiana. I could go down the list. It's going to be very, very deep. When you heard the news from Ayo and Kofi, what was your initial reaction?
Yeah, and it was so sudden. Ayo called me on a Friday night and he said, "Coach, I'm coming back," and he said, "I'm getting ready to release a video." And I said, "Well, do I get to call Josh Whitman, our athletic director?" He said, "No, I'm releasing it right now." And you're elated and you're excited for the fact that he came to Ayo's case, came to that decision on his own. Kofi did the same. And those young men went through the process. I was very hands-off through most of the process with them. They needed to gather that information, but they were informed, and they made a decision that was best for them. And had they made the decision to go and they felt it was best for them, you would have been equally as excited. But, from the University of Illinois basketball program aspect, we're elated. We get old. We get two potential pros coming back to our program. Both had phenomenal seasons last year, and you've got an opportunity to grow. And you look at Ayo as a junior. Most oftentimes, those are their best years. It's the only time that they get to play against their peers and be at their best. And the experience. He's got 3 years in a weight program now. He's he knows exactly what we're doing in terms of the system. So I'm really excited for him. I'm excited for Kofi. The best thing about freshmen is they become sophomores. So you throw that in with the guys we got back, and I'm very optimistic as well.
Yeah, I think you're a great example of just being patient. Maybe it wasn't easy all the time over the last few years, but and your AD obviously, and Josh, has shown that patience as well. Last season, had there been a tournament, a full Big Ten tournament, you guys were playing great basketball. You'd already cured the road woes, were closing games, and who knows what would have happened. You had a great shot to potentially, get to the Final Four. With these guys back, with Georgie now a second season playing with Kofi, what do you want to tweak here, when you get back in the gym in the fall, that you think, that certainly will take you guys even to that next level?
Well, I think one of the things we tried to address in recruiting, and we had 2 young men sitting out as well that will come in as juniors, redshirt juniors, and Austin Hutcherson and Jacob Grandison. One of the things we have to do better shoot it, and that was something that really, I think, caught us off guard. We think we're a good shooting team. Maybe it was the new line. I don't know. But we've tried to address that with, the addition of Adam Miller, those 2 young men I mentioned sitting out. And then I think, Ayo will have a better shooting year. Trent Frazier had a really a subpar percentage-wise shooting the ball from 3 year. So I think he'll be much better. But I think that will help us. And then I really like our depth. I think that we're going to be, especially on the perimeter, we got a chance to be very, very deep and have guys that are different. And that really excites me as we move forward to the start of practice.
So Brad, scheduling, that's going to be sort of the next big thing. We expect that we'll know in mid-September when the council votes on potentially the starting date. If it stays at November 10th, does it go to the first weekend before Thanksgiving? Does it go to the weekend after? From what I've been told, we can't afford to let December go because there's unlikely going to be NBA, G League, NHL, no bowl games. Potentially. So that whole month could be a college basketball window for television and for the sport to obviously take advantage. But there's a couple options there. Do we do non-conference bubbles? Do we do regular non-conference? Is it Big Ten conference, 26 games, and spread them out beginning in December? What would you like to see? Let's assume that we have a December month of college basketball.
Well, ideally, you'd like to play them all and play the games you have scheduled. And we had an unbelievable non-conference schedule. But, the only thing I truly know right now, Andy, is we had Arizona at home and they're not coming because the Pac-12 said they're not playing. I'll be honest, I've really taken on the opinion. I don't care when we play, how we play, what we play. We just need to play. I know we're going to have an NCAA tournament. I'm the biggest believer of Danny Gavitt and his leadership and what that looks like. I think we have proven in our situation the last month, we don't have a ton of students on campus, that our little uniform bubble, the way we're doing things, can work. So I think it's a great opportunity, as most campuses empty around Thanksgiving, to be able to play in December. We've obviously moved football to the spring. They'll be practicing and they'll have workouts going on in the month of December. So it's a great opportunity. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if that's going to be non-league games or conference games yet. Whatever, if it's 26 conference games that we would go to, holy cow, it would be absolutely miserable for all of us coaches. But it might be one of the best schedules ever put together because our league, as you just mentioned, top to bottom is going to be loaded.
So one other thing in terms of that, if it's traditional and you're just going to play Indiana and then coming back, But if it is sort of mini week-long bubbles, and we could be at a different place in other campuses like Illinois is now in a couple of months. But what would that be like if you had to play multiple games, maybe against the same team over a couple of day period in sort of a mini bubble, and then go the next week or take a week off to the next week? You know, how would you prepare your team for something like that if that's what would occur?
I think it'd be more challenging for the coaches. The players have grown up that way with the AAU games and you know, playing 3 games in a day or back-to-back days. I think we all play in exempt events that we do that. We do that in the Big Ten tournament. You know, I can foresee, and I'm just no idea about any of this. You know, if football plays in domes indoors, you know, schedule basketball games around it in those same domes, and you know, it could be made for TV heaven, in my opinion. But that may be the case. You may play 3 games in 5 days. The players will adjust. We'll adjust. The biggest thing, Andy, is we have to get back to the court. And I think it's a great opportunity during those windows that we're talking about. Obviously, the safety and the chancellors and presidents all have a very big picture to look at. We don't ever want to jeopardize that. But, you know, those are natural windows that we've proven through the course of the summer can be really effective when the general student population isn't here.
And lastly, you know, really for everyone's sort of mental health and lowering anxiety, I mean, how much do you want by the end of September, I'm going to just say maybe at the latest, to really know what the plan is? And I know everything changes with this virus every day, every hour, but for the most part, to have maybe a new plan, a different plan, or if it's going to be the same plan of starting on time, at least by, you know, the end of September, October 1st.
Yeah, there, you know, Andy, there's comfort in knowing, and you know, we've been 5 months now of really not knowing, and I don't expect that to change. I think, you know, I think that we've taken everything in our program week by week. You know, we're continuing that as we start classes on the 24th on Monday. We're going to take everything week by week, and I think that is the new abnormal, as I call it, is we literally have to be on the fly. We have to be ready to adjust, and we'll do that. So whatever the schedule looks like, if they don't tell us till October, I'm okay with that. And, you know, I don't think we have to live in what we always perceive as the natural calendar for basketball. I think it could be different. Maybe it's May Madness. I think we just need to get to the court whenever that is, whenever the chancellors and the commissioner think that that's the best time to do that. And I think we'll get there, and we'll all adjust and be fired up and excited, because not only will the Big Ten be the best conference in the country this year, you've got a lot of the really good players nationally that came back to college. So it could be one of the best NCAA tournaments ever.
And lastly, Brad, I saw that you, you know, local media was talking about your walking, and you lost some weight. Post-pandemic, are you going to keep that going and walk in that neighborhood?
No, absolutely. I've got to figure out how many layers. You know, you being a big runner, and I can't run, but I'll have to figure out I have to get your advice on how many layers to put on when it gets cold. But no, I appreciate you asking, and I have worked really hard at it, and I feel the best I've felt in quite some time, and so there's no need to stop, and we'll continue to try to stay as healthy as we can, and keep dropping a few pounds.
Well, Brad, I appreciate it. Stay safe, and hopefully we're going to see Illinois back on the court here soon.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it.